had to come back to Earth before docking with the space.
Well, it didn't happen.
If this were to happen,
It's been postponed for a little bit. That rocket was supposed to have blasted off a little over an hour ago. Technical difficulties that happen sometimes. So the astronauts were all cooped up in the little capsule on pad 39A down there in Cape Canaveral, and they'll get off. It's funny, the astronauts, don't they look like almost like an old-timey version of what the future astronauts would look like, right? I mean, from a movie from 1970. It's all kind of awesome. That is Elon Musk's rocket, of course, SpaceX, to rescue the astronauts on the space station, especially Sunny. And she's the really skinny one. Have you seen her? I mean, bad health. Something's going on up there. And we hear she's losing bone mass, and same for the guy astronaut as well. It's tough up there. Yeah, this is before she left, and this is what she looks like now on the right. And the eye is a problem. The International Space Station continues to orbit. And how long have they actually been up there? 200 and something days. 200 and how many days was it exactly? 273 days. They were supposed to be gone for 8 days. Okay, this is a very bad situation. It's been downplayed and almost ignored, certainly by the Democrats in the Biden administration. I don't think the media interest has been sufficient. And maybe because, well, there's an Elon Musk component to this rescue mission, right? Elon Musk made an amazing offer. Yeah, I can go up there and get him. NASA was actually intrigued by the offer all the way back in the summer of 2024. But politics kicked in, we believe, from Joe Biden. Not only I believe, the astronauts believe. Elon Musk put it this way to our own Rob Schmidt.
So obviously it was an antagonistic situation. Those astronauts were supposed to be up there for 8 days, and now they're up there for 8 months. Does that make any sense? And we obviously could have brought them back sooner, but they didn't want anyone who supported President Trump to look good, basically.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Isn't that incredible? It's totally, I mean, that Joe Biden would be that petty, that political, that nasty. Granted, I always knew he was nasty, and I knew he was petty, and I knew he was political, but you would think when lives were hanging in the balance that he might make an exception for a political, adversary, rival, whatever. It's just Elon Musk at the time. He hadn't come all out with the Doge and everything, which is fantastic, by the way. This is fascinating. An astronaut from orbit in the International Space Station, the guy on the left there, confirmed the Elon Musk story, that it was offered and turned down.
Elon Musk has said that he made the offer to bring you guys back earlier and that it was denied. My first question is that true? And if so, what would that have looked like? Was he offering to make another flight, push seats on another flight? Could you give us some background there?
I can only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. We have no information on that, though, whatsoever. What was offered, what was not offered, who it was offered to, how that process went. That's information that we simply don't have. So I believe him.
I believe him. I believe him. Wow. A hot story confirmed from orbit. Now, granted, some of Elon Musk's rockets blow up from time to time.
The SpaceX Starship exploding overnight during its latest test flight, scattering debris and disrupting air traffic across Florida. It's the second consecutive mishap for the most powerful rocket ever built.
Well, here's the thing. He has reliable rockets as well. That is the experimental Starship. If you look over here, if you can, I can hold it up for you. You want to take a look at my little, all right. These rockets work fine, all right? These are the Falcons, okay? And those are the ones that he sends up to orbit to get guys from the space station. This big monster rocket over here, this is the experimental one. And sometimes I hear they actually blow it up on purpose, right? Once it's done with its initial mission. But there have been some snafus, but nobody's on board these rockets. Look, he knows what he's doing. He's in the rocket business. Folks in the fake news, though, they're getting a kick out of what they erroneously see as failure.
It is the second consecutive Starship test flight from Elon Musk's company to end with destruction. All I could think about was, I can't sing.
No, please don't. That's good. That's good.
Why did they let him put this rocket up in the air after they were still investigating the last explosion?
Well, see, this is the thing. Okay.
All right, Simone Sanders, that was not at all pleasant, very, very annoying, but kind of representative of folks on the left and what they're saying about a rocket blowing up. Take a look at this prominent Democrat. Breaking, another one of Elon Musk's taxpayer-funded Starship rockets has just exploded again. How many billions are we wasting on this failure factory? Everything Elon Musk touches blows up, catches fire, or crashes, including the Trump administration. What a totally false statement. And it continued on Twitter and the headlines. The headlines, well, they love it when successful people, in their mind, fail. But this stuff has actually not been a failure. You have to go through these tests to get to where you want to be. This is all about getting to Mars, and I know that we will. We got a man on the moon, right? We sure did. 1969, 1972, haven't been back in 53 years. That's a disgrace, by the way. How did we get there? Well, first we had to start small with the Mercury missions and the Mercury astronauts, as featured in the movie The Right Stuff. Anybody see that one? It still holds up. It's still amazing. And before they were sending men into space, they had to figure out the biggest and latest rocket. And initially, it didn't go too well. Remember, nobody's on these rockets, all right? But failing is part of succeeding. You got to figure out what works or what doesn't work to get to what works. You see the fake news freaking out? At least they weren't laughing. Pump up the volume again. Look at that poor guy. He's totally freaked out. But we're going to get to the moon. We get to the moon, just like Elon is going to get to Mars, everybody. And yeah, the critics will be laughing, right? Always laughing at this. It's easy to be a critic. It's easy to be stupid and foolish. Whatever. Elon Musk is used to people laughing at him, right? Until he owns the world, until he wins. Steve Jobs said something like that. First they fight you, then they laugh at you, or other way around, and then you win. Okay. Elon Musk, I'm counting on him. Take a look at where this is ultimately going. Mars. This is on the SpaceX website, and this is a colony here, and these people are also on Mars. Now, it's obviously all a rendition, but we know he can land these massive rockets vertically. The caption from Elon Musk reads as follows: "You want to wake up in the morning and think the future is going to be great, and that's what being a space-fearing civilization is all about. It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past. And I can't think of anything more exciting than going out there and being among the stars." Excellent, excellent. And it's so great that President Trump has this man at his side. All right, next, please.
Who would allow men to play in women's sports? And they're still fighting it. They're still, it's got to be a 95% issue. But they're on television this morning. I see this person, a Democrat, say, we should have the right. No. Men should not be, they're hurting women. They're hurting women very badly. They're hurting women. And they should not, and they're also demeaning women. But who would want these things? And everything's transgender. Everybody transgender. That's all you hear about.
It's true. It's still a thing. It's still a pestilence that's with us. These kinds of scenes, drag queens showing up in public schools. Now, there's been a major shift, of course, with President Trump in the White House once again, but they did a lot of damage, and there's still resistance. Who can forget Leah Thomas, right? So-called woman. And Riley Gaines, she turned that into a massive victory, by the way. She's fighting so hard. And so goes for Peyton McNabb when she was bombed in the head with that volleyball from the drag, not a drag, a actual man. A man fake joined the girls' team and almost killed her. And this was all, of course, celebrated and promoted by the Biden White House. This is crazy stuff, everybody. And it's still being fought. This is still a culture war that needs to be fought. You've heard of Sarah McBride? Well, Sarah started out as Tim McBride and then became Sarah McBride and ultimately became Congressperson or Representative McBride. Now, the issue I have here, it seems pretty apparent to me that the Democrat from Delaware is in office because of the gender thing, right? Transgender is like a shortcut to prestige and status with still a huge chunk of the Democrat Party. You saw what happened yesterday on Capitol Hill. It was pretty great. You know, we've had it with the insanity, right? People say this is not nice manners. I'm sorry, showing up like Congressperson, whatever, that man, this is good, and it's important, and it's necessary.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply...
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman? Would you repeat what you just said when you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America, please?
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
You will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
And they're out of there. Well, good for that Congressman Self. McBride, I could argue the decent thing would be to, sorry, but not show up like that. Congressman Self, you know, he's speaking for a lot of us. This has gone way too far. And that guy who was all indignant about it, what was his name? Keating from Massachusetts. Here's the deal about McBride again. The whole appeal is the gender issue, the gender status. It's what made this person a member of Congress to begin with, and a media darling, of course.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.